there. So it was that for a while, and then through the process of me understanding the tech more, I decided we're going to overhaul the ecosystem completely. But the funny part was, it was right when we finally got Frankenstein to work. Like at a certain point, I decided to start, really putting a lot more income into development, and I got a good developer, and he made it stable. And it was just crazy to delete that because it was literally 5 years of building this and finally seeing it. It was like you're looking at it, you're like, it's alive and it's walking and it's working and it was fast and we were getting the wide, what they call the wide slow, and all those scores were high. And then I sat in one night and I realized personally and technically that it wasn't scalable and we couldn't go to the next phase. So this was a weird moment because I think there was a little scuffle in the house from those who were participating in the process. Like, okay, so we're going to delete this. And needless to say, we did. We decided that, you know what, the future is for sure mobile, and we definitely need to be scalable. And if we're going to really deploy technologies the way that we really see them needing to be implemented into the world, we're going to have to start from scratch. And so I started from scratch, and we built on a Bugatti motor, basically. Like instead of kind of coming in and deciding this is what we want to do later, we went in first saying we're going to do everything. What will we need to do everything, and we built from that. So our system now is really, it could be moved and deployed in different places because as you know now there's a decentralized movement happening. So we're making those decisions. We can always go private. So we just wanted to make sure everything's packaged up so we can uproot it and put it somewhere and turn it on really fast, kind of like Pirate Bay. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, where are they at today? You know what I mean? And the whole site's there. So just looking at the technologies and how we can also, what I would say is make sure that we're relevant in the future, like taking the actual count of, hey, where are things going, and what is it gonna look like for us? Are we gonna be able to maintain and thrive? So inside of this social network, at its core, because it's really an ecosystem, as you see earlier, it is now an ecosystem rather than even going in the just the social network direction. We decide full blown equals ecosystem, gamification, the whole nine, and then inside that, of course, is a social network. And the core fundamentals of the social networks inside of Secret Energy. And by the way, if you haven't been to Secret Energy, because I know some folks are just here, haven't even checked out the site or looked at it, or haven't been there in a while, definitely hit your refresh button. It still looks weird. Clear your cache, and check out the new refresh GUI and how things are flowing. And we kind of got like a smash up between Instagram, Facebook app, and Tinder. In respect to, we have geolocation, which lets you know who's in your area that's conscious and on point, and you can even see their interests. Also, our full-blown activity feed. We're working on the integration right now with Instagram. Actually, that should be done in about a week. And also, just so everybody knows, is that our goal was not really to design something here. That was another big part of the change, is that we got tired of like seeing these blogs with all this content, and then it was just, the whole thing was just to get you on this website and to get you looking at one of these crazy blogs. And we even talked about that last night in Sovereignty Mentorship, that it makes you have to chase trends, because every time something new comes out, people want to come and see what you have to say about it. But then your energy gets directed into that, and then you start picking up traffic from that kind of energy, which becomes toxic. So in this respect, we built a site so it's really a power tool for you to come in and use certain features and be able to do that really fast, and then get on to your physical connection, because there's plenty of physical connections happening even right now. So just so you know that it's not technology, online, virtual. It's power tool gets me where I need to go, and actually becomes my extension inside this matrix to know where others are that are on the same level as me, and also to be able to deploy, as you know, communication and financial tools in the moment, to be able to keep catching traction for whatever you're doing. So the integration with Instagram is because, especially since we're going to just start being way more relevant in these platforms, we have a massive campaign that we're rolling out. Genealogy is rolling out next week, which you'll learn about here in a moment. This activity feed is, with integration with Instagram, means that just with that click of a button, you can already really share what you're sharing in other places. We're going to do that in Facebook too. So that makes it where you don't even go into Secret Energy and have to type all this stuff up and put it all together. because we realize that there's some giants out there in social media. So trying to compete with those giants in that respect doesn't make any sense. But if because you're sharing content into your stream and that's giving us a pulse to what you do, what you're doing, and what you have going on, and it's only taking you a moment, and that allows you to get a closer and tighter integration with Tribe, we believe that we can convince you to actually do that. At minimum, obviously, some people will use the platform just as it is, posting into the activity feed first and then choosing to share in other locations. So we do have our activity feed, and then we also have, as I mentioned, the geolocation, then the chat messenger, which again is just our extension of communication. And the beauty of chat is what you're going to see in a moment, because now we're capable of deploying somewhat of an automated conversation with you to push you along on the process, because we realize that transformation doesn't come overnight. This is kind of like a big whammy to anybody coming in to try to see what they're going to get done in consciousness in one day. Like, okay, so I'm awoke tomorrow. And it doesn't happen that way. It's a different stroke for different folks. Some people are early bloomers. Some folks, they need some time. They take some time with it. They come back, they drop off, they come back. So with that, you have to realize in the experience, we have to design something that allows a person to go at their pace, but we definitely know it's not going to happen in one day. So everything that we build is generally to give a person the entire process and experience. And I don't even think it's actually possible to penetrate all of our information in anything like 6 months. And this is even the curriculum-based information. That's just because of how long it took to put there anyway, and then also the potency of the content itself. So as many know, there's actually University, which is our version of a university inside of Secret Energy. So it's again not just the social networking platform; it's an ecosystem. So it does have a school, and there actually are free courses. Also, the platform is completely gamified. So what that means is for mindful deeds, we reward the users for their mindfulness, and they're actually building and accruing ohms, which is our protocol points. And then if they accrue enough of them, they can actually go right into the store and just check out with the points that they've earned. So we've created a very symbiotic system for those that, because for sure, if you're just giving away something, it has no value. And I think the most important thing, especially when we're going on an uphill journey anyway, we need to invest some energy, right? Like, think about that. If I have no motivation of hiking this mountain, not that I've already committed to buying the horses and the package and the suit and all the stuff that I need to do that, and I'm now ready to go. If I have no commitment to that, more than likely I'm not going to climb that mountain when the going gets tough. Tough is like fast, cleansing, staying away from toxic friends, throwing things away that are distorted in the house, that are throwing off. So it takes energy to do that. So we work with a balance of making sure the person has the right type of incentives to keep that process going in their life. So again, university. Also, this is completely brand new. It's actually been a year and a half, almost 2 years in beta testing. And this is, of course, Enealogy. We actually have enealogy.com, which is awesome. And this is basically our system of not looking at everyone as if they're the same, because we have all unique differences. We're all completely unique based on, as you know, the fingerprint. And the fingerprint actually controls the spiral of your field that's around you, so it makes everybody's field uniquely different. But there are some things that are actually the same about us. And when you break that down into what we have as 9 different archetypes, it actually comes into something very interesting. It comes into something very ancient, actually. Even back in the days of Kemet, they were actually working with the Enneagram. Obviously, you see G.I. Gurdjieff tried to play like it was all him, went forward with the Enneagram, and under, I guess, Enneagram, and brought it into many different systems of business, and then stripped it completely of its metaphysical values. We also have Jyotish numerology, which is based on the number 9 also, which is the Hindu system pulled from thousands and thousands of years ago, and I believe for sure from what the data shows by way of Kemet, and just a system of awareness that was known around the world about the archetypical forms of how, when you come into inception into a space, how the particles from that space actually make up the buildup of your body. Some people would see that also as astrology. I kind of look at astrology more like astronomy, and I start looking at the chemicals, and I start seeing the composition of the human being and see if there could be a pattern. And sure enough, there is actually a pattern, and it comes into some amazing things that we've also put in ambassador training for anyone who wants to know more about that to know, and also be able to use it, just in your life, on others, in your business practice, whatever, because it's very revealing. And then also what we've done inside of the tribe in our groups are we begin to lens through each other, meaning look at kind of what a person represents. I'm a four. So in this case, starting to see, hey, do we see four behaviors and tendencies and traits coming from that person? So that's what the beta testing would be. And that's why it took us so long to say, okay, we're ready to release this, because I'm definitely not trying to have people calling me about inconsistencies and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to be very accurate and thorough, because everything else is very accurate and thorough. So when you build on something like that, you don't want to throw in something that's going to throw that off. So we came up with Neology, we deployed it, we did a huge metaphysical journey on it inside of ambassador training, but we also wanted to make sure that we can get others involved. I always think of free as the bottom step. And like if we can have something free, that means we can actually attract everyone. So the network is thought through very well of what we can provide for free. And the great thing is that Genealogy Phase 1 and Phase 2, which is a series of automations and actionables, actually run for free inside of the user's browser. It's actually inside the chat window. And so what this means is that this automation, it picks up from the information that they put into the system when they first sign up. It finds their technology path, and it begins to deploy an automation to them. So speaking about that, I think it's probably a perfect time to show that, because that is one note here to make sure you see that. And this is something that you should be aware of, because when you're actually inviting your clientele into the platform, especially via your affiliate link, this is what they're coming into. So inside of the chat, which here is deployed through the chat icon here on the top, I think I'm kind of covering that because my head's right there. But that opens this page, right? And this is going to give you a notification and say, hey, you got a message from Genealogy. That's going to come into your active stream. Let me do this really briefly. Let me just restart this real quick so you can see kind of how this would work. Just going to ping this a couple times with the restart command. Actually, that line there. What is he talking about? Okay, there we are. So I was mentioning that on this page, there's actually going to be actual chat icon, and then when you push that, you get into your chat window here, right? And as you can see, obviously this goes live next week, so no one can see this inside of their system yet, except for beta testers. But it's just a flip of the switch for us, and we're about to flip the switch. And so when we flip the switch, what it's like is you or anyone else comes in, they get a message, hey, Neology is basically got a message for you, and then it'll navigate you to this page, and it's going to basically say, wholeness of wealth Neology. We'll begin with a few questions. Are you ready and to get you started? And then it kind of goes through the process. All this is now automated, so once the person clicks agree, it's already picked up, in this case, my path, and it's going to start rolling me through this automation. Now, this automation in itself is very intrinsic. It's actually almost, wow, we did this, it's like 600 or 700 different engagements. And what it is it's taking the person through the process. It's not assuming that, hey, everybody knows how crazy fluoride is for you to put in your mouth. Everybody knows how important it is to get the oxygen level up in your blood, especially if you're working with meditation. Everybody knows, because oftentimes why this stuff may seem simple to you, if somebody's just starting from scratch, this means that this is maybe something they don't know. Also, there are many people who actually think they're rather far along and still are missing a lot of boxes that we've all discovered as masters. They haven't checked those boxes yet of these are other things that you need to make sure you're aware of before you make the ascent. So that's what this is, and it goes on. This is phase 1, it then goes into phase 2. But also this does stop at a certain point. Like, it's definitely feeding out some information right now, because it's like, hey, this is what you got, here's how to get started. But at a certain point, what it's going to do is it's going to stop, and it's going to say, hey, look, we've given you a lot. We're going to be back with you in a few days, and you'll learn more about how it works. Also, this is completely tailored to the person's path, so that's what made this in itself a massive feat because whatever we did, we had to do it 9 times. That kind of drove me insane for one moment, and then I kind of went back because every time I had to make an adjustment, like, man, you got to do that 9 times. So this is why it took so long to have it, but it's a very precious resource because when it comes to mental mental illness, especially right now, mental illness is becoming a huge thing in the workplace. This is a comprehensive side by side that's not only really allowing the person to know more about themselves and allowing them to gain a massive level of clarity and clean up their environment, pick up their vibration, all sorts of stuff's happening for them dealing with their kids. They have a huge support network, so even if they're just inside of this, they eventually figure out, oh, I can go into sovereignty mentorship. And that's, of course, another thing inside of this automation. At very discrete and thought out points, we do put in what you would say is call to actions. Hey, join ambassador training. Hey, here is the cleanse that you need. Here are things that we carry. Here are things that we don't carry. We're still giving you the information because this is what you need to do for the best of our awareness about your path. And so what that also creates is then something else is doing the, if you want to say, solicitation in a very timely, thoughtful, mindful process. And so again, that's a big thing because if you got to go out there and you got to sell a product directly, this is why that stuff doesn't even work anymore. People are not into that. They want to see where is the value first. Unless you want to lie or you want to put some crazy video out there and everybody sees it and they just click it and buy it and then they get something they don't want. If we've been designing this for this long, that's why I said everything has to be thought through in an integral way, and that's of course how you know that it's going to stand. So that's what genealogy is. Also, that's like let's say the yin of the matter, the spiritual aspects of things. We love to delve into that deeply. It is our origin point, but we also like to make sure that we're checking all bases full spectrum. Many know that we've actually deployed WealthyBot, and WealthyBot is an automated cryptocurrency trader. And what it does is it actually just makes money off of the up and down points of the market. We have already a year of development into. Developers are amazing. They've been testing the system for a prolonged period. Now it's live and we've been using it and it's been doing pretty well. Also in the space in itself, the cryptocurrency space, it has a lot of room for growth. So despite what happens on the charts as they go up and down, there's always a consistent riding up. And so what this system does, it's completely automated, is it takes advantage of when things start riding up, and it also takes the emotion out of it because it's actually extremely difficult to be anything like a trader or a cryptocurrency trader. I know the word even kind of sounds weird in itself, but it's very difficult to actually sit into um, buying and selling cryptocurrency or stocks. And it's because our minds, as I mentioned, are generally wired to when we see something go up, we feel like purchase it because it's going up, it's looking good. And then when we see something going down, we're like, sell it before we lose all of our money. And that's exactly opposite to how these markets really work if you ever wanted to benefit from them. You have to learn how to remove all the psychological. You know that going down is what it needs to do in order for you to find a new point to buy in. And then when it goes up, you don't anticipate it's going to go up forever. You're ready for it to come down again, rinse, rewind, repeat, repeat. And that's what the system does, is it just does that for you without you having to look at it or do anything with it. We always call it set it and forget it. And then you come back around and you'll find you'll have some cryptocurrency. Now, the interesting thing about also our platform is our platform, it takes cryptocurrency. So meaning in Secret Energy, in the checkout, we do have an integration with Coinbase Commerce, so you can actually spend cryptocurrency or your clients can spend cryptocurrency inside of our system. The benefit of this is actually we developed WealthyBot, which basically makes money for free. It just works, and they can actually take the profits that they make from WealthyBot, kind of like staking, and then go and buy products from the store, literally. And when we're talking about certain turns here, you can see like $30 to $40 in profit every turn. The market determines how many times it will actually do that. It could be several times a week. It could be one time a week. But what I'm saying is it's basically generating capital that it could, if you felt like it was such a issue in your life to make sure that you're maintaining your, I guess, balance and sustainability. So everything that you buy, you need to have something automated that pays for it Because that's also where this starts. It doesn't start all the time with, you immediately got $100,000 revenue stream every month. It can get there. It can absolutely get there. However, when you think about your cell phone bill or something, and let's say you have an automated wealth system already deployed, and it's just making, I don't know, $150 a month. This basically means the cell phone bill is free. You keep increasing it, it's $400, $500. This basically means the car note is free. And then that's kind of how you work on it, is that you don't really anticipate, okay, this is going to be a lot of money at first, because it's a wheel. Once you put in, like it's like a farm. Once you plant enough seeds, then those seeds start to churn, and then your residuals start getting higher and higher. We're going to show how that's going to work in conjunction with social media versus you just trying to find all your friends, because we had to debug that too. Obviously, a lot of these systems work with, and the last drop to all this is, and go tell all your friends. We don't anticipate at this stage that you're going to have a bunch of friends that want to hear you talk or shill anything. Oh, come and be a part of this. You may not even feel that you're in that space in your life. You may actually be, the person that's like, okay, I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm just going to benefit from this stuff myself. So because of that, again, we really thought out that you coming in with just telling them, hey, this is what they need to do, you have to really be able to come in to them also with value and say, hey, this is something I'm already doing. This is something that's already working. So I'm going to keep going with this. Obviously, as you know, we have been deep into our own research and development on products. And then also we begin to produce our own products. And the benefit of that is, obviously, we can drive the cost down and we can raise commissions. Wealthy Bot, not Wealthy Bot, but Hydrolux is one of our first products that we've been able to actually secure the manufacturing and distribution. That is, of course, this molecular hydrogen generator here. And so we've been able to increase the commissions. It's basically $50 per unit plus any of the accessories in commissions. And so what that is simply saying that, okay, well, if you don't really have something exclusive, and this is just if you want to look at it from the product end. As I said, we just layered this. Like, at some point, someone's going to say, this is me. Someone may not want to buy products. They may want to come in for free, just try stuff out. They got ideology, they're going through that process. If one or two things is going to happen, this is how I see it. There's only one or two things that are going to happen when a person actually chooses to give it a shot. Either one, they don't trust it, so they're not going to spend anything. They're going to see exactly how much they're going to be able to get until at some point it says, man, you should at least pay something. You done got so much. So either that's going to happen, or they're going to go right into the works, or give me as much as I can get for how much I have. That's really the only two things that are going to happen if a person comes to a decision and has to decide, am I going to make this purchase or not? There's also another thing that's going to happen. Excuse me. There's one more. I don't have the money for this. I just don't. I can't actually allocate even $40 to some She Legit for minerals for myself because, and then there's a slew of reasons. So that's why we also created specialist training, which many of you know about, which is free, because a person can actually get enrolled in this system, start making money, even then take that money and put it in Wealthy Bot, and then grind their way to the top in actually a very rapid period of time, faster than I believe they would be able to do it in other places. So we're able to take that person and say, look, man, I'm really at zero, and say, well, okay, we got you, because we can work from zero. But also that person that's like, well, I just don't trust you, so that's why I'm not, and they're ready to go on their development, they're going to figure out very fast within the ecosystem that, man, this is all love right here. And actually what I'm about to purchase is actually for me. I'm not taking the colon cleansing kit. The big benefit here is, we call it karma-free wealth, is that when you give someone something, I lost one of my lights there, when you give someone something to actually heal them, it's totally different than when you sell them something like some I don't know, some alcohol, or some shirts, some shoes. I mean, how many shirts you have? How many shoes do you need? Like when you go to the indigenous tribe, you find, maybe wear them shoes out. You probably had a pair of shoes you wore for a long time. There becomes this bond between you and this shoe, where you just want to see, how far is this shoe really going to go. So we have an abundance of things, and so it's just very important for us always to come back into the center of ourselves and realize that, hey, when we're giving something to someone that's actually going to heal them, this is never can be considered as the same thing as when you give something to someone that they don't even really need, or it's even going to harm them. So we have the store full blown, ready to to go. And as I said, the design, there's competition out there. Also, I wanted to play this video really quick in relation to unobtrusive marketing, just so it's at the end of my slides, by the way. And this is so that it's just crystal clear of what I mean by this process that I've dubbed unobtrusive marketing. And what this means just is that you don't have to sell products. I say that a lot because I think people have gotten traumatized with that. And then they start thinking MLM, they start thinking, well, I want to share a product link, and that's not what you're doing. Even next week, when we deploy Ideology, which is going to consist a lot of people, if you're even the way that a person figures out that Ideology is in the platform, then you've already done what you need to do to create your automated wealth stream. So I'll say that once again. So we also have quite a few different materials on the site that, like, we have a daily with Ideology where we talk about things, where it displays the energy of the day. And even sharing that, it's been a huge craze on Instagram. I've been watching, we've been sharing that on Secret Energy, Instagram page, and people love it because they love to hear some relevant information about the day, what colors they need to wear, what smells they can wear, to track more of the energy that is coming through the day, because then you're undefeated. And actually realize what energy comes in, so you know what you're going to do, and it'll all fit in and you'll come into sync. So we have that information available on the site. So when you just share that, what you find is the person uses that, but just because you shared it, if you do it the proper way, which is pretty simple, then that person coming into the platform, signing up, and starting to go through the process, again, at any point, if they make a financial transaction, then you're going to receive credit for that. So again, it's extremely mindful, but I'm going to play this video very briefly. Welcome to Unobtrusive Marketing. Unobtrusive marketing is a term we created to explain how you can earn commissions while sharing mindful content on our site that you love and think your friends will be interested in. After you become an affiliate, you will be given access to your own dashboard. In this dashboard, you can turn normal website content URLs into special links that can be detected by our system to track if any of our site viewers have been referred by you. After clicking a link, most users continue to browse the site. In the event they make a purchase from our store, you'll receive commissions. It's that simple. The key to unobtrusive marketing is your friends can be invited to the site to enjoy metaphysical content and other things they love, and you don't have to bother them with links about products and sales opportunities. That's being mindful. So when you're utilizing this system, then you have a residual income coming in, and you have automated sales actually taking place. And this is just by referring someone to the ecosystem. Now that's the basics. Okay, actually, all of what I just went through was the basics of how Secret Energy functions as an ecosystem, and exactly what the experience is of your clients. Now, what is the experience for your clients when they're coming into the platform? How do, once you just recommend them to the platform, does it actually end up becoming an actionable scenario for the person, where they're either making a purchase or they're getting on the process to that they can begin to build currency to begin to make a process, make a purchase. And that's why it's a collective income for you, because as they keep seeing more and more of what we're giving, it may not happen right away, but at some point they're going to get enough value to where they say, okay, I'm ready to go into this experience. So I think I said enough about that. The last thing here is that, so we then put a rocket on this. So imagine what I'm just highlighting how the technology works. Now I'm going to highlight very briefly, and I'm also going to have our sister Laura come in, and she's going to give a few highlights just about Instagram. But when I say we put a rocket under this, there is still that, well, where do these people come from? Am I telling my friends? Well, I only got 10 friends. And we decided that we were going to utilize the power, as I mentioned in the Conscious Economic Forum, of the AI systems that are embedded within Instagram and Facebook to begin to find more people like us. Because instead of finding like everyone, you can even try to find a lumberjack. I don't know, maybe he even likes it too. But what I'm saying is, if you can be more relevant with who you're attracting to this, then it works out in a totally different way than you just trying to figure out which one of your friends would enjoy to do this. So Instagram and Facebook, of course, can put us in front of millions of people. So what we've given you, and this is now available to be downloaded on secretenergy.com/automated. So that would be secretenergy.com/automated. You're familiar with this page because you went to register on it. On that page, you can now download the document that I'm going to show really briefly here. And this is especially for those who have not dealt with Instagram or Facebook or any of this stuff before. Of course, we would have to build it from the ground up with a person to with with consideration of person not even having awareness of doing that. So we gave you a PDF of which you can download, and what it's going to go through as it takes here is one, just the basics of how to open an Instagram account, creating an additional revenue stream, or excuse me, creating an additional account on Instagram, adding friends on Instagram, how to change your account to a business account. So remember, it starts from the basics. That's what you give it to a friend, and they've been out in the woods, they're living in an igloo, and they're like, yo, I'm ready to get my sovereignty on the physical. I'm about to buy this land. You're like, look, there's no plan for automated wealth. And they say, hey, I don't have an Instagram account. You even got to start from there with them. Or you may have somebody that's a bit older and they're like, Instagram, baby, I'm not even, but yeah, I got a smartphone. So if that's the case, then they can always jump in here and say, okay, start an Instagram account. So that's why it gets that basic. But right at a certain point, this how to change your account to a business account is where you may not have done that, even if you're using Instagram already. It's a click of a button. That gives you certain abilities and features to be able to deploy immediately inside your Instagram account. We talk about how to post your Instagram to make it really simple. Also, how to hashtag and tag people properly because you're going to need to do that or make sure that that's done. Because how the system that we're going to deploy works is we're going to give you this content. So if you want to use our content, then you can. And all of the, let's say, description is already packaged within that content. But you need to understand how exactly things work because if you see something like when you copy and paste that it didn't actually do the tag or the hashtag properly, you can just generally go to that area, do a backspace, and get it working properly. But you just need to know what's supposed to happen so that you're educated. Also, I will tell anyone that's come here and you're looking at all this already, it's like, yeah, you're just a tough crowd kind of person. Still, what we're actually educating you on is going to be how to be able to do this for anything that you're actually working on. So that's what we call being mindful. It's not just about, hey, what can you do for secret energy? It's actually more about what secret energy can do for you. In this case, so how much we work over here together in this co-creation. So if you also have something else that you're doing, though, this information is vital for you to understand exactly how these systems work in order to begin to utilize them to get more traction in whatever you're doing. So the next thing is the power of Instagram networking, which we just wanted to highlight in this document, and then how to recognize someone from the automated wealth system. So again, that's going to deploy inside. That's materials is going to deploy inside of this. You can see all that. You can study this on your own time. I definitely didn't want to go through it here because it is rather basic, except for some of the things, like I said,